The wind howled through the derelict hallways of Raven's estate, its ominous resonance amplifying the gravity of Dr. Lillian Apex's latest discovery. She stood in the dimly lit chamber, her eyes transfixed on an object that seemed to pulse with every beat of the universe. The Quantum Nexus, a relic of unimaginable power and a key to realms beyond human understanding, loomed before her, its surface shimmering with every color imaginable. "It's beautiful," whispered Lillian, her breath caught somewhere between awe and apprehension. Her assistant, Ravi, a brilliant mathematician with a penchant for the esoteric, leaned in closer, his face adorned with an expression of childlike wonder. "This could change everything," he murmured, fingers itching to understand the mathematics of this otherworldly puzzle. But reality was seldom as kind as possibility. Just as the weight of their discovery began to settle, the blare of an alarm shattered the silence. The estate's security had been compromised. "We're out of time," Lillian hissed, eyes snapping towards Ravi. "They're coming." In a flurry of movement, Lillian secured the Nexus into her travel bag. Its celestial glow dimmed as layers of protective material enveloped it. "Who are they?" Ravi pressed, panic flushing his cheeks with color. "The Monolith Syndicate," Lillian replied, breathless. "They won't stop until they have it and they understand its power, or misuse it." She steered Ravi towards a narrow passage escalating into shadow. Racing against time, shadows twisted into monstrous shapes. The pair slipped through tight corridors. As they reached the surface, Lillian's mind raced just as quickly as her feet. She knew that with the Syndicate's knowledge, they'd need more than science. They'd need allies. The night engulfed them as they emerged into the open, stars bleeding into the horizon like edicts of fate. With Ravi in tow, Lillian was resolved. They were about to embark on a journey that stretched the bounds of time and space, and they would not back down. Staring up into the vastness of the night sky, Dr. Lillian Apex could only think of the uncharted paths that lay before her, a universe of infinite parallels and the hope of one truth binding them all. Her quest had begun. The morning sun struggled to pierce the thick overcast as Lillian and Ravi snaked through the crowded streets of New Oxford. Every face in the crowd seemed burdened with isolation, digital whispers ensnaring their thoughts as they shuffled by with eyes glazed in virtual worlds. But Lillian and Ravi's urgency transcended such distractions as they entered the Codex, a haven for intellectuals dedicated to preserving knowledge amidst the vast sea of engineered ignorance. Once inside, Lillian scanned the room, her gaze settling on Marcus, a grizzled strategist with eyes that had seen too many worlds. As the former leader of the Resistance, his knowledge of covert operations was unparalleled. He looked up from a holographic chessboard, a wry smile curling his lips as he regarded them. "Lillian, still sticking your neck out for the impossible?" Marcus teased, though there was a warmth to his voice. "And you still can't resist a good challenge," countered Lillian, seating herself across the table. "We need your expertise, Marcus. The Monolith Syndicate is after the Quantum Nexus." Marcus's playful demeanor vanished like a fleeting shadow. "The Syndicate, they're playing a dangerous game," he muttered, rubbing a hand over his stubble. "Count me in. I'll get the old network activated." Nearby, Solara, a cybernetic technopath who could communicate with machines, overheard their exchange. Her curiosity piqued, she joined the growing alliance. "I have access to government databases the Syndicate doesn't suspect exist?" Solara chimed, her presence electric and enigmatic. As the team concocted a plan to secure safe passage across dimensional planes, Lillian felt a pang of nostalgia, a half-remembered melody from a simpler time, before consciousness could transcend flesh and dream. "Our reality hinges on us staying one step ahead," she expressed, glancing around at this motley crew. "The Nexus isn't just powering our travels, it's reshaping them. Our every action could tear a rift through realities." Marcus nodded soberly. "We tread on the edge of a knife, but it's a knife we wield, my old friend." With their course set, Lillian and her burgeoning team resolved themselves for what lay ahead, a daring expedition across the multiverse to stop a shadowy organization from unraveling the very fabric of human existence. The stakes were high, and each knew the cost of failure. But together, united by purpose and camaraderie, they would dare to venture where none had before, and perhaps find themselves along the way. The Codex's underground lab hummed with a life of its own. Screens flashed with wave functions and multidimensional maps, but for Lillian and her team, the humming signified progress towards a world on the brink of discovery and destruction. "We're ready," Solara announced, fingers flying across a virtual keyboard that seemingly danced beneath her touch. Her eyes flicked towards Lillian. "The portal's coordinates are set. We'll enter through an uncharted timeline, minimizing detection risks." Marcus leaned against a console, arms folded. "Uneasy to imagine how many versions of us are out there," he mused, his gaze distant. "With any luck, just by crossing over we'll confuse the Syndicate's trackers." Lillian had no time for idle contemplation. She steeled herself with purpose and hope. "Remember," she said, turning to face her comrades, "our actions bear weight beyond this world. Our priority is to safeguard the Nexus and prevent the Syndicate from distorting all versions of Earth." Ravi looked up from his calculations, excitement mingling with trepidation. "Assuming it all works," he added, his voice barely above a whisper, but no less determined. The air thickened, tense as a bowstring as they approached the activation platform, a dizzying array of lights and cables interwoven like a tapestry of stars. Nervous energy coursed through them, a shared heartbeats before a cosmic leap. "We stick together, no matter the outcome," Marcus affirmed, extending his hand to the center of their circle. One by one they stacked their hands atop his, sealing a pact forged by shared dreams and existential stakes. With a nod from Solara, the platform surged with energy, engulfing them in a mist of shimmering light. Reality seemed to stretch like a waking yawn as the quantum nexus pulsed in Lillian's pack, guiding their trajectory through the fabric of space-time. The lab vanished. In its place, a kaleidoscope of worlds spiraled past, colors and shapes unfathomable to earthly minds. As they hurtled through dimensions, Lillian's heart thrummed a melody of belonging knitted across universes. Gravity reasserted its grip as they landed deftly in an alternate version of New Oxford. The city loomed vast and unfamiliar, teeming with life both alien and eerily familiar. But there was no time to acclimate. The Syndicate was relentless, its agents always lurking, ever watchful. Their mission had only just begun, and with newfound resolve, they ventured forth into the unknown, to defend not just their world, but all worlds. Landing in the alternate New Oxford was like stepping onto a distorted canvas of the familiar. The sprawling metropolis buzzed with life, its skyline punctuated by colossal spires that seemed to stretch beyond the heavens. Lillian took a breath, the air tinged with metallic ozone, as she and the team assimilated their new surroundings. The streets vibrated with the pulse of technology, the hum of transit pods, the murmur of holographic displays interwoven into the fabric of reality itself. "Stick together and blend in," Marcus instructed, his tactical instincts sharp as ever. "We're tourists in this dimension. The fewer waves we make, the better." Ravi marveled at the city's architecture, his eyes wide with discovery. "The laws of physics must be different here," he noted, tracing the seamless melding of organic and inorganic forms with an awe-stricken gaze. As they navigated the labyrinthine avenues, Solara scouted for safe havens amid the bustling market district. Mentally interfacing with the local network through her cybernetic implants, she felt the city respond, alive, sentient, eager to reveal its secrets. "I've localized a Syndicate presence 2 blocks east," Solara announced, downloading a schematics database. "They're guarding a facility tapping into the quantum nexus's frequencies. It might be the key to understanding their plans." Lillian's eyes hardened, a steely determination settling over her. "We need to get inside. If we can hijack their data, we might find out what they're after, and how to stay a step ahead." Marcus nodded, eyes narrow with purpose. "I'll handle the entry points and cover our escape." In the twilight of the artificial cityscape, they threaded towards the guarded facility, slipping shadows among the oblivious crowds. As they neared the perimeter, a chill ran down Lillian's spine, the palpable presence of the unknown, heavy with anticipation. With a nod, Marcus deftly neutralized the entry sensors, his deftness owned by years beyond his prime. One by one they slipped inside, principal actors on a dimly lit stage lined with servers and control panels. Once in, Solara interfaced with a primary system dread-like, her expertise unfailing. Streams of data unfurled before them, the gateway to the Syndicate's sinister ambitions. "They're trying to construct a singularity," Solara gasped, deciphering lines of encrypted information, one that could collapse every quantum reality into a single controllable point. Everything, all worlds, remade as they see fit. Cold resolve washed over the group. The truth was laid bare. This wasn't just a battle for survival. It was a war for the soul of the multiverse. "We need to shut them down," Lillian breathed, her voice firm and unyielding. "Before the Nexus is beyond our reach." Their mission had morphed into something profoundly larger than any of them imagined. Every dimension, every heartbeat of existence teetered on the brink, waiting for heroes who dared to change fate, a resolve threading them to a common destiny. The quiet hum of the Syndicate's servers was suddenly punctuated by the chaotic scramble of boots and the conspicuous clang of weapons being readied just outside the facility's inner sanctum. "We've been discovered," Marcus barked, his eyes flickering to the status displays that projected images of armed figures moving toward them with military precision. "We have to accelerate," Lillian insisted, sweat beading at her temples as she turned to Solara, who was feverishly typing commands into the terminal. "Can you download the necessary schematics in time?" "I'm working on it," Solara muttered, pushing the limits of her technopathic abilities. Her eyes glowed with a neon hue as the system codes unraveled before her, her connection blending with the streams of encrypted digital information, a dance between human and machine. Ravi hovered nearby, his fingers dancing over his own slate as he calculated possible outcomes. As time dwindled, so did their options. "We need a distraction," Marcus proposed, adrenaline spiking through his veins as he prepared to defend against the incoming threat. Lillian nodded, mind racing. "We can't let them take the Nexus. Ravi, stay with Solara. Marcus and I will hold them off as long as we can." The team split off like limbs of the same body, every movement precisely orchestrated as Marcus set up charges along the facility exits, his intent to delay rather than destroy. "This way," he gestured to Lillian, drawing her toward an adjoining corridor where they could create a bottleneck. "If the Syndicate wants a fight, we'll give them one on our terms." Lillian sighed, uncertainty clashing with determination. The weight of potential realities pressed upon her shoulders. But Marcus understood. They were burdened by the same storms, sailing the same existential seas. As the first wave of guards flooded into their trap, Marcus sprang into action. There was a graceful fury in his movements, a dance honed through countless battles in dimensions afar. His only ally, the element of surprise. Lillian, less seasoned in the choreography of combat, held her own, using strategic strikes rather than brute force to outmaneuver the attackers. Together they wove a tapestry of defense, buying Solara the moments she needed. Back in the lab, Solara's heart pounded with the dual rhythm of urgency and connection. Each keystroke was a lifetime, the act of decoding an epic in miniature. "Almost there," she promised, a fine sheen of sweat on her brow. "Victory!" Data cascaded into their portable drives, each piece a bullet of insight, a dagger to the Syndicate's heart. "Got it!" Solara yelled, adrenaline singing through her. "We're clear." Ravi and Solara converged back with Lillian and Marcus, their departure synchronized. Marcus primed the remote charges with a nod, his eyes sharp with camaraderie. "Let's give them a parting gift," he smirked, detonating the explosives remotely. The facility vibrated with a roar of contained chaos, the network severed. Racing back into the open where the pulsing city breathed, victory tasted bittersweet on the edge of disaster. Vigilance was natural now, for every uncovered truth unveiled, yet another veil, and they knew too well this was but a skirmish in the war for the universal soul. Amid the constant rhythm of the alien metropolis, Lillian and her team sought sanctuary in the hidden corridors of the city, underground passages known only to those who dared to resist the Syndicate's watchful eye. "We should be safe here for a while," Marcus reassured them, leading the group into a secluded chamber deep below street level. It was a relic of a past rebellion, its steel walls etched with the whispers of those who once fought for survival. Ravi's mind was still a whirlwind from their narrow escape. Did anyone see any sign that the Syndicate would follow us? Lillian shook her head. With Marcus's distractions, I doubt they knew which direction we headed. For now, the shadows are our allies. Solara set up her equipment on a battered table, her interface gloves flickering to life once more. "Give me a moment to decrypt the data. Then we can see if there's any hope of stopping that singularity." The team waited in silence, the hum of distant machinery a soothing reminder that life, though fractured, thrived around them. Lillian watched Solara work, her own thoughts wandering through the paths they had crossed, and those yet to come. "You did well back there," Marcus said quietly, drawing her attention. "Not everyone can face the Syndicate and walk away unscathed." "We couldn't have done it without you drawing their attention," Lillian replied, a small smile playing on her lips. "But we've only bought time, not victory." Their conversation hushed as Solara gasped, her eyes widening at the streams of decrypted text cascading across her screen. "I've got access to their core directives," she announced excitedly, her fingers flying over the terminal as she opened file after file. "The singularity isn't just an abstract idea. They've been mobilizing resources from across multiple dimensions, alternate Earths, to power a convergence engine." Marcus leaned in, his brow furrowed. "Convergence engine? Sounds like they're trying to turn chaos into order. But once they control it," Ravi added, connecting the dots, "they'll wield ultimate power, rewriting reality itself." Lillian's fist clenched at her side. The enormity of the Syndicate's plan was laid bare before them. If they succeed, freedom, our very essence, will cease to exist across every universe. The darkness of their subterranean refuge felt infinite, pressing upon them with every breath. "We need to stop them before they can gather the resources they need," Solara urged, outlining coordinates of high-priority outposts where the Syndicate was amassing their efforts. A map of targets unrolled before their eyes, each node a mission unto itself. There was a chink in the Syndicate's armor, and Lillian's team would exploit it with precision. "We must strike quickly and outsmart their defenses," Marcus declared, his battle-worn gaze shining with determination. Unity and purpose bound them as one once more, warriors against the encroaching darkness. With every revelation, they uncovered not only their enemy's schemes, but also their own courage, pushing them ever forward in defense of a universe that deserved choice, diversity, and life itself. The subterranean hideout echoed with a tense silence as Lillian, Marcus, Solara, and Ravi devised their plan. The Syndicate's convergence engine loomed as their gravest threat, and with it, the timeline of their world's fate. Their destination was clear, a heavily fortified outpost nestled within a parallel dimension, where the Syndicate harnessed energy from collapsing stars. This energy, this raw, boundless power, was integral to the engine's construction and activation. "Our priority," Lillian stressed, tracing her finger across the digital map displayed before them, "is to disrupt their energy pipeline. Even a temporary shutdown could set them back weeks." Marcus nodded, his mind a steel trap of tactical ingenuity. "We'll split into two teams. Ravi and I will infiltrate and create a diversion, giving Solara and you the chance to infiltrate the command center and disable the energy transfer." "It's going to be risky," Ravi commented, glancing between the map and his companions. "They'll have layers of security and likely backup plans for backup plans." Solara smirked, already configuring her equipment to attune to the Syndicate's encrypted systems. "Let them think they're secure. I'll be more than happy to introduce a few technical hiccups." The team prepared with the precision of long-standing allies, each aware that every breath may be their last, should their mission falter. With a nod from Marcus, they accessed the quantum nexus within Lillian's travel bag, harnessing its power to thread through dimensions. The transition was seamless, the sensations of their previous journey now familiar, a swift plunge into an alternate existence. The outpost was nestled amidst swirling cosmic clouds, an outcrop manifested from dreams and nightmares beyond human comprehension. Endless corridors of glistening alloy reflected the starborn energy pulsing through its veins. Effortlessly, Ravi and Marcus executed their diversion, initiating a cascade of alarms, a chaotic dance of lights and sirens that fractured the outpost's calm. Meanwhile, Lillian and Solara navigated the labyrinthine structure, slipping past distracted guards who rushed to contain the perceived threat. Their breaths synchronized, a duo bound by purpose and urgency. With deft motions, Solara accessed the mainframe of the command center, her consciousness a wave of code and connection. "I'm in," she whispered, lips curled into a triumphant grin as Lillian provided lookout. Panels of the control node shimmered and faded under Solara's deft keystrokes, each one severing the lifeline of energy that tied the stars to the convergence engine. The rhythmic pulse of the core began to falter, sputtering out into silence. Lillian's heart mirrored the rapid tempo of their mission, each beat testament to defiance, against inevitability, against control. Just as victory seemed within grasp, their comms crackled with Marcus's strained voice. "We've got company. Reinforcements. More than we planned for. You two need to get out now." Urgency redoubled as they converged with their team. Shockwaves of their deception rippling through networks as they fought their way back. But each confrontation only deepened their resolve. With every strike, every step toward freedom, they claimed a victory not only for their world, but for each universe echoing in the cusp of their own. Courage thrummed within them, pulling them toward destiny's unknown frontier. Lillian, Solara, Marcus, and Ravi emerged from the kaleidoscope of dimensions, breathless yet triumphant. The energy disruption had gone unnoticed until it was too late for the Syndicate, buying the team just enough time to escape amidst the chaos. Yet the victory felt fragile, like the strands of a delicate web clinging to morning dew. Back in their hidden sanctuary beneath New Oxford's avatar of shadows, the aftermath of their mission settled heavily, draped with both relief and the lingering weight of future battles. Marcus paced the room, a lion in a cage hungry for intel. "They'll retaliate," he mused, eyes sharp as cut glass. "What we did today will only delay them. It's not enough." Ravi adjusted his glasses, leaning over the schematics they had stolen. "If we can hit multiple nodes, synchronize strikes across dimensions, it'll cripple their infrastructure permanently." "Coordinating across dimensions won't be easy," Solara noted, reviewing possible targets in the multiverse. Her cybernetic enhancements buzzed with calculations, data streams weaving through her consciousness like silken threads. Her eyes flickered back to Lillian, whose determination was the unyielding anchor connecting them. "And there's the Nexus to consider," Solara continued. "Its power is extraordinary but not infinite. Each use drains it, just as it drains you, Lillian. The more we jump, the weaker you become." Lillian accepted this truth with a grave nod. "A sacrifice I'm prepared to make," she asserted, voice unwavering, "if it gives us even a slight chance to override their control." The room fell silent, the team absorbing the weight of her words. Bonds forged in the fires of conflict weren't easily broken. Overhead, a screen sizzled to life, displaying ripples of energy reverberating from their successful strike. It mapped out the weaknesses in the Syndicate's defenses, like a roadmap to potential salvation. Marcus broke the silence, resolute. "Then we hit them hard. Strike multiple dimensions simultaneously before they counter." Ravi, swept up in the latticework of their plan, nodded eagerly. "Bring the fight to every corner of their operation. Draw them out, away from the Nexus." The team moved with fluid purpose, each focused on preparation for the forthcoming multiverse assault. As hours turned to fleeting moments, strategies were honed and maps memorized until every variable aligned. "We act with the dawn," Lillian declared, her eyes alight with determination, "when the Nexus's reserves peak with the sun's rise." The promise of a new day, unwritten yet full of possibilities, buoyed their spirits. Unity binding them in singular purpose, to unmask destruction's architects and reclaim control. Though uncertainty lay like dust on the horizon, their vision was one of hope, a hope woven from courage, sacrifice, and the unconquerable quest for freedom. The journey's end loomed yet unseen, but its path was clear. For each dimension touched by their cause was another whisper that change was coming, a ripple that would crescendo into a tide of transformation. The first light of dawn crept over the horizon, casting the underground refuge in a golden glow. Lillian and her team were poised at the precipice of action, the hush before the storm more palpable than ever. "Everything's in place," Solara confirmed, her voice steady as she recalibrated the dimensional interface network. The system hummed beneath her fingers, the quantum nexus pulsing gently in sync with their resolve. Marcus stood ready, a sentinel of focus and intensity. "We need to execute perfectly," he reminded, his gaze casting a loquacious arc over his companions. Each strike synchronized to fracture the Syndicate's control. Ravi adjusted the miniature projector on his wrist, its holographic threads displaying the nodes they would target across timelines. "Remember," he interjected, a mix of excitement and nerves, "our timing must be exact. Even a second off could unravel our efforts." The clock ticked onward, and with the sun's final arc across the sky, Lillian felt the Nexus become a veritable heart of potential, its power coursing through her veins like quicksilver. A power not of domination but of unity, echoing the weight of countless worlds. "On my mark," she whispered, the command resonating through her team like the beat of a drum. Simultaneously, they activated the interface, each held aloft within a column of light as reality twisted around them. It felt almost ceremonial, a testament to a universe aware of its participants. As they leapt into the void, the tumultuous journey of their convergence became their moment. Stars warped, suns imploded, and each dimension greeted them like an old friend, but urgency spurred them forward, each finding their place amidst the battle within dimensions. Marcus led his assault with precision, his aim to sever communication lines essential to the Syndicate's coordination. Every move was efficient and calculated, a general at the peak of his strategy. Ravi and Solara danced through cyber wires and command panels, their hands a blur of technological finesse, disrupting data paths and scrambling codes. Ravi's intellect and Solara's connection wove a fabric of chaos that stifled the Syndicate's reach. Lillian wielded the Nexus with growing mastery, bending dimensional harmonics to disable power supplies, their tyranny silenced by her command. The strain weighed heavily, but each sacrifice, each effort, was a step toward salvation. In the cacophony of fractured realities, the team's unity glowed like a beacon. They fought not just with and for each other, but for countless soulscapes beyond sight and scars. Though the Syndicate's forces swarmed against them, trying desperately to staunch the bleeding of control, Lillian and her team remained a force as inexorable as the dawn. As the dust settled and their mission's results began to unfurl, Lillian realized the Nexus had given them more than a weapon. It offered wisdom intertwined with power, a revelation of what it meant to be part of a whole greater than oneself. Breathless and exhilarated, they gathered once more, back in the safety of their refuge, eyes alight with the realization that they had turned the tide. But the Dominion's heart remained, their ultimate task looming. There was work yet to be done, a final reckoning awaited. Yet with unity and resolve, they'd face it. One last journey to secure the freedom of every being across all threads of existence. The convergence of paths, minds, and varying destinies drew towards its inevitable climax. Savage but resolute, Lillian and her team prepared for the ultimate confrontation with the heart of the Syndicate's insidious designs, their command center where the convergence engine was held. In the afterglow of their previous victories, Lillian felt the toll upon her body and the Nexus. Yet the unwavering spirit within her grew stronger, a flicker transforming into flaming resolve. Their mission was no longer just a task, but a responsibility etched into the fabric of her being. The team gathered for what felt like both an ending and a beginning, the Quantum Nexus pulsating in harmony with their combined courage. "Let's move," Marcus commanded softly, yet his voice carried the weight of a titan. "We're taking everything we've learned, everything we've fought for, and ending this." Together, they traversed the embers of the fading dimensions, slipping through the cracks they had created until they stood before the monolithic fortress of the Syndicate, its presence dark and foreboding, a titan waiting. "We've dealt with the smaller nodes," Ravi said, drawing in a deep breath, "but this, the heart, will be fortified." Solara nodded, her interface glowing. "I can breach the perimeter and rewrite their protocols. It will be like turning their own defenses against them." Lillian placed a hand on Solara's shoulder, grateful for the unshakable bond between them. "This is our fight," she affirmed, a promise shared without need for words. Realization dawned as they entered the stronghold. The convergence engine thrummed at its core, threatening to reshape everything they knew into a singularity of the Syndicate's making. Shadows danced across Lillian's vision as she prepared to channel the Nexus's power one last time. As battles erupted around her, the air alive with chaos and challenge, Lillian drew the Nexus from her pack, feeling every heartbeat it echoed, every possibility it whispered. Marcus, a silhouette of strength, provided cover, his actions defying entropy itself as Ravi's quick fingers disabled countermeasures and Solara tricked the system into perceiving them as allies rather than intruders. When Lillian stepped before the convergence engine, Its mesmerizing light projected a kaleidoscope of alternate fates, beckoning with temptation and threat. The Nexus pulsed with her, feeling its ultimate alignment. "We won't bend," she uttered, her voice a sacred whisper overriding the machine's hum. She pressed the quantum nexus into the heart of the engine, her essence flowing through it like a maelstrom. The connection forged was momentous, a tether of consciousness that spiraled into the multiverse's heart, fracturing the convergence and dispersing the Syndicate's plans to the wind. Lillian felt her soul intertwine with the past, present, and futures beyond count. With one final surge, she recalibrated reality itself, ensuring each dimension's sovereignty, each world's freedom, bound by respect for diversity over domination. Emerging from the haze of light and power, Lillian found herself on the ground, her team around her, guardians beneath a universe reborn. Catching her breath, she realized they had succeeded. The fortress stood silent, but the multiverse sang with endless potential. With a gentle smile and tears of relief, Lillian felt her friends, their shared triumph enveloping them in warmth. They had voyaged into the heart of possibility and emerged victorious, not just as travelers or warriors, but as protectors of eternity. Amidst the infinite horizons of the multiverse, their legacy would echo true, a testament to the indomitable human spirit.